They told him to quit. They said he was nothing. But they forgot one thing: a relentless mind cannot be broken. Here are 5 stories of ordinary boys who did the extraordinary. Story number 1. The Boy and the Muddy Shoes. Once upon a time, in a busy city full of tall buildings and shiny cars, there lived a young boy named Leo. Leo was the son of a shoemaker. His family was very poor. While other children wore new uniforms and carried colorful backpacks to school, Leo wore an oversized shirt and shoes that were stitched together in many places. Leo loved to run. He was the fastest runner in his neighborhood. But he never ran on a track. He ran on the dusty streets, delivering shoes for his father to earn a few coins. One day, a grand school announcement was made. There would be a running competition open to everyone in the city. The prize was a full scholarship to the best university. Leo's eyes lit up. This was his chance to change his life. He went to the registration desk, his heart pounding with hope. But when the officials saw his muddy, broken shoes and his dirty clothes, they laughed. One man said, "Look at you, little boy. This is a race for athletes, not for beggars. Go home." Leo walked away, his head down, trying to hide his tears. He went to a quiet corner of the park and sat under a tree. He looked at his feet. "They are right," he whispered. "I am just a poor boy with muddy shoes." But then his father sat beside him. His father didn't say a word. He just took out his tools and started fixing Leo's shoes right there under the tree. He polished them until the mud was gone. He looked at Leo and said, "Son, the ground doesn't care what shoes you wear. The wind doesn't care how much money you have. Only your legs and your heart matter. Do not let their words stop you." The next day, Leo returned to the race. He stood at the starting line, surrounded by boys in expensive gear. When the gun fired, Leo didn't just run, he flew. He ran for his father. He ran for every time he was laughed at. He ran for his future. His shoes were old, but his steps were heavy with determination. One by one, he passed the rich boys. As he crossed the finish line first, the crowd went silent. The boy with the muddy shoes had won. That day, Leo learned that it doesn't matter where you start or what you wear. What matters is the fire inside you that refuses to burn out. Story number 2. The Boy Who Built a Castle from Trash. In a small village near a giant landfill lived a boy named Sam. The air in his village always smelled of smoke and old plastic. Sam spent his days collecting plastic bottles and scrap metal to sell for food. He had no toys, no books, and no friends. But Sam had an imagination bigger than the sky. While other kids saw piles of trash, Sam saw castles, robots, and machines. He would spend hours tying plastic bottles together with old ropes, trying to build structures. The villagers called him the Trash Prince and laughed at him. "Why do you waste your time playing with garbage?" they asked. "Go find some real work." Sam didn't answer. He had a dream. He wanted to be an engineer. He wanted to build houses that were safe and cheap for poor people like his family. One summer, a terrible storm hit the village. The wind howled like a monster. The flimsy roofs of the villagers' houses were blown away. The rain poured down, flooding their homes. Everyone ran for shelter, crying and scared. But amidst the chaos, one structure stood firm. It was a small hut Sam had built entirely out of tightly packed plastic bottles filled with sand. While the wooden houses collapsed, Sam's plastic hut remained strong against the wind and water. The villagers, shivering and wet, looked at the boy and his creation in shock. They squeezed inside Sam's small hut to stay safe until the storm passed. When the sun came out the next morning, no one laughed at Sam anymore. The village elder came to him, placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "We saw trash, but you saw treasure. We saw a boy playing, but you were building our future." From that day on, Sam taught the villagers how to build strong walls using the materials they had. He didn't have money for college yet, but he had something more valuable: the ability to see possibility where others saw only problems. He proved that you don't need gold to build a castle, you just need a mind that never gives up. Story number 3. The Boy with the Silent Voice. Far away in a mountain region lived a boy named Kai. Kai was born mute. He could not speak a single word. In a world that loved loud noises and confident speakers, Kai was invisible. At school, he sat in the back. When the teacher asked a question, Kai knew the answer, but he could never say it. The other children teased him, mimicking his silence. Kai felt trapped inside his own body. He had so many stories to tell, so many feelings to share, but no way to let them out. One day, while walking home, he found a piece of charcoal from a burnt campfire. He picked it up and drew a face on a white rock. It felt magical. For the first time, his voice came out, not through his mouth, but through his hand. Kai began to draw everywhere. He drew on the dirt roads, on old newspapers, and on the walls of his small house. He drew the pain of being lonely. He drew the joy of seeing a bird fly. He drew the hope of a better tomorrow. One day, a famous art teacher from the city visited the village. He walked past Kai's house and saw a drawing on the wall. It was a picture of a boy shouting, but instead of words coming out of his mouth, flowers were blooming. The teacher stopped. He stared at the image for a long time. He asked the villagers, "Who drew this?" They pointed to the quiet, shy boy sitting in the corner. The teacher walked up to Kai and knelt down. He said, "You do not need a voice to speak, my child. Your art screams louder than any thunder I have ever heard." The teacher took Kai to the city and gave him real paints and canvas. Kai worked harder than anyone. He painted day and night. Years later, Kai became one of the most famous artists in the country. People would stand in front of his paintings and cry, feeling the emotions he put into every stroke. Kai taught the world a beautiful lesson. If one door closes, God opens a window. If you cannot speak, you can sing, you can write, or you can paint. Never let your limitations define you. Find your own way to let your soul speak. Story number 4. The Boy and the Dry Well. In a drought-stricken land where water was more precious than gold, lived a boy named Aryan. His village was dying, the river had dried up, and the women had to walk 10 miles every day just to bring back a single bucket of muddy water. Aryan was small and thin, but he couldn't stand seeing his mother suffer. One morning, he took a shovel and went to the dry riverbed near his home. He chose a spot under an old dead tree and started digging. The men of the village walked by and shook their heads. "You are foolish, boy," they said. "We have dug everywhere. There is no water here. The earth is cursed." Aryan kept digging. The sun burned his back. His hands blistered and bled. By evening, he had only a shallow hole. Day after day, Aryan returned to the same spot. He dug 1 foot, 2 feet, 6 feet deep. But all he found was dry dust and rocks. His friends called him out to play, but he refused. His neighbors told him to stop wasting his energy. "Give up, Aryan," they said. "It is hopeless." Aryan almost listened to them. He was tired. His body ached. He looked at the deep, dark hole and saw nothing. He sat down and cried. But as he wiped his tears, he remembered his mother's cracked lips and tired eyes. He stood up, gripped the shovel tighter and whispered, "One more time, just one more scoop." He struck the ground with all his remaining strength. Clang! The shovel hit a hard rock. He didn't stop. He pried the rock loose and pulled it out. Suddenly, a sound was heard. Hiss, gurgle. A small stream of clear, cold water shot up from the ground. It wasn't a lot at first, but soon it began to fill the hole. Aryan laughed. He shouted with joy. The villagers ran to the sound. They saw the water and fell to their knees, praising the boy. They drank the sweet water and realized that the curse was not on the land, but in their minds because they had given up too soon. Aryan showed them that often we are just 1 inch away from success when we decide to quit. Story number 5. The Boy Who Planted Hope. This final story is about a boy named Elian. Elian was an orphan. He lived on the streets, begging for food. People looked at him with pity, but no one really cared. Elian felt that his life had no meaning. "I am nothing," he thought. "I will be born poor, and I will die poor." One day, an old man gave Elian a single apple. Elian was starving. He ate the apple quickly, savoring its sweetness. When he finished, he looked at the black seeds in his hand. He was about to throw them away, but he stopped. "If I throw these seeds," he thought, "they will die in the dirt. But if I plant them, maybe, just maybe." Elian went to a barren hill outside the city. He dug small holes and planted the seeds. Every day he carried water in a broken cup from a faraway pond to water his seeds. Months passed, nothing happened. "You are wasting your time," a passerby said. "Nothing grows on this hill." But Elian remembered the taste of the apple. He kept watering. Finally, tiny green sprouts appeared. Elian protected them from goats and harsh winds. Over the years, the sprouts became saplings, and the saplings became trees. But Elian didn't stop with just those seeds. Every time he found a fruit, he planted the seeds. 20 years passed. The barren hill was no longer barren. It was a lush green orchard filled with apples, mangoes, and shade. Elian was no longer a beggar boy. He was the guardian of the hill. He didn't sell the fruit to get rich. Instead, every day he placed baskets of fresh fruit by the roadside for the hungry, the homeless, and the orphans. He put up a sign that read, "Take what you need, give what you can." The boy who had nothing now fed the whole town. He didn't have money, but he was the richest man in the world because he had patience and a giving heart. Elian looked at the trees and smiled. He realized that even the smallest seed can become a forest if you just give it time and care. So, my dear friends, what is the lesson here? Whether you are Leo with the muddy shoes, Sam with the plastic bottles, Kai with the silent voice, Aryan with the shovel, or Elian with the seeds, the message is the same. Your current situation is not your final destination. Poverty is not a lack of money, it is a lack of hope. Failure is not falling down, it is refusing to get up. You might be tired today, you might be crying tonight, but please promise me one thing. Do not let the light inside you die. Keep running, keep building, keep painting, keep digging, and keep planting. Because the world doesn't need more people who give up. The world needs you. The world needs your story. If these stories touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. Don't forget to subscribe to Relentless Mindset for more stories that feed your soul. Until next time, stay strong and never give up.